Does anybody know who was chosen for the new superintendent's committee?
For which one? What
You
committee?
were?
Oh,
A
good.
parent, as a parent.
Oh,
Awesome. Okay, so we can funnel things through you?
Absolutely. My BSD email just got reactivated again today, so it's ACADREC, shoot whatever you need to.
Great.
so, and to that note, we haven't, special education has not been well represented by parents in the past, and I don't mean that to knock anybody. I'm just saying it's difficult for parents with kids who have disabilities to go to all those meetings and sit there for long periods of time. And knowing that the budget is going to be tighter than it ever has, if we can try to get some voices, and I mean, I'm glad you're on the committee. We definitely need to do that. The budget's, it's going to be harder this next coming year than it's ever been, I think.
I
I mean,
applied. I applied to be
Laura-
on it.
So did Chris.
Good.
I was really surprised when I got the email that I got. But Laura, if you want to start a running document for our group, for the questions that I can ask and the suggestions I can give to them, just do it and then I'll bring it up.
Okay, I'm going to put that on our, see, could you see the agenda now, folks?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put that on topics for the next few months. Questions. Is that something you want to address tonight rather than we were going to talk about an OSEP indicator, but this could be more important. Is this something you want to talk about tonight instead? How about we start with that? And if we have time, we can talk about OSEP. I don't want to make anybody feel what budget, because we aren't going to meet again until January. So unless somebody objects to that, that might be the topic to talk about.
Well, I wouldn't mind.
Okay.
But
All right.
I also, this is my first meeting, so.
You know, we just made a list of things to talk about, but we can talk about them going forward. I'm going to leave this on here because you guys have access to the agenda. And let me just show you really quick what I'm going to show you later. And we'll do this. We can do this next meeting. This is a list of the state performance plan resources by indicator. And the indicators, I'm scrolling down, indicator 1 through 17 are the indicators of, it's not just special ed though. It is special ed, but it talks about a lot of other things, that because our kids with disabilities aren't just a one siloed thing, that what impacts everybody impacts them, and what is done for them impacts everyone. So these indicators are important for you to understand a little bit about. I mean, this is a deep dive. And I've been working with the team special ed educators and other case managers for a couple of years on these now. And frankly, I was an OSEP fellow and director for 4 years before anyone ever said that these existed. No one ever told me this. And this is one of the biggest things that I complain about, having been an OSEP fellow where they actually paid to educate me and they never once mentioned these 17 indicators are really critical. And I'm just disgusted by that. So I want to make sure people know about it and get the word out. And I think we can talk about these at another time, and if we have time tonight. But I just want to make sure you saw that. Okay, so the link is right on the agenda here if you want to take a look later on. And I can put another line in here. Insert. Brain has to click in first though. There we go. And we'll say, let's talk about questions for budget. Okay, so I just want to give you a quick update before I don't do it about the Vermont Family Network. I spoke with them about the SIB share, and I spoke with them about the mentoring program. And they don't want to talk about it right yet because they're in a crunch, but in January they spoke to me about it, but they don't want to talk about plans yet because they're dealing with a lot of stuff, but they are more than happy to have our group be part of their network, and for us to have our own network that's Burlington specific for the mentors, and if we want to do something with siblings as well, and they would provide training and provide support, which I think is very generous of them, and that doesn't surprise me because they always are. But I was just very appreciative of that, and so I told, goodness, I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Karen?
Hmm?
Was it Karen?
No, something like Missy or Muffy. Or,
oh yes, yeah, she's new.
Yeah, she seemed really lovely, and I've got her name written down in my office, but I'm not there right now. I'm in Greenland. But anyway, so she's lovely, and I think we can do lots of good things with her going forward. Oh, I love the kitty. Oh, the beautiful cat.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So is this the supporting parent program that we're referring to? Being a
So, yeah,
parent
the mentor,
match?
Yeah, the mentor is the for
Yeah.
the parent support. Yeah, and the
So
cinch. Hmm?
I've been a supporting parent for about over 10 years.
Yeah. So what
Um,
we're thinking of though is to have something that's Burlington specific.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kelly, we had talked about that.
Yep.
a-
And
a
it was interesting because Laura, after, I think it was after you had spoken with Molly, I ended up, VFN like sent out a refresher, a reminder of, for being supporting parents. And I was like, oh, look, we triggered a reminder.
Yeah, it's great. They're lovely people. I'm sure we can do good things to support each other and maybe help expand their program as well. You know, make it. Vermont's a small place, so anything we can do to help each other to help each other.
There's also a Facebook group that is like VFN is the so you all know I worked there for a long time and I was a board member, right? And I'm still pretty connected. And Laura, it is no joke the changes that they are going through right now.
Yeah.
But so they have it's like a Facebook listserv and it's a really great resource.
Mhm.
So, you know, if it's
Do you know the name of it?
I do, I'm just gonna pull it up right now because it's been an evolutionary it's for I believe it's Vermont. It's Vermont. There's Vermont Families of Children with Special Health Needs, and I can put it in the chat if you want. And then there's also a Vermont Family Network page as well. I'll put it in the chat, but I mean, I've supported parents all over, not just in Vermont, but like all over. So, you would think I would know this by heart, right?
No worries. Well, we look forward to seeing that in the chat. I can link it into the agenda when it's there. So give me a heads up. So I'm just thinking in January, I'll give them a call before our next meeting and see if we can get some next steps. That might be a little too quick for them, but I'll try. Okay. Great. So budget questions. And am I moving too fast? Okay. Budget questions. Let's jump into that because I think our timing is pretty good. Yeah, we're right on track. So let's put this here. What would we want to share with Elmina that she can share in her new role and take advantage of that a little bit? Do people want to think about it, or am I don't want to push too hard. I just want to make sure we're prepared.
Is it just specific to the budget or is it just the overall of the overarching questions for, you know, that families and students? I mean, I would like to, if it's not just budget related, I would like to know before we even put anything out there, what the superintendent's thoughts are for us.
For families of kids with disabilities?
Because I, and again, and I say this respectfully, but I kind of am beyond the point of like, you know, I want to see changes in effect. I just don't want to, I don't want to hear, you know, talk is great and it's it there's a lot of benefit to it. It's immeasurable, but you know, if it's not partnered with action and making sure that those actions are followed through and sort of, you know, starting from the top, you know, yeah. I mean, how are we going to incorporate conversations of ableism in our culture and climate at school? You know, how is he, you know, how is the superintendent? You know, I want to know what kind of buy-in he has before,
Mhm.
you know, because I know Kelly and I have spent a lot of time driving a lot of the education from employee perspective and from parent perspective.
Mhm.
So I want to know his starting point
Mhm.
and where he's at. Because I honestly say, I mean, in some ways, I think that Kelly and I are quite advanced in our advocacy.
So I think, but you've had some conversations with him. I think he's been pretty, I mean, he certainly is, he's dealing with a lot of challenges right now, and I don't mean
Yeah.
that to mitigate it, but I think he's pretty positive about being supportive of families with disabilities.
I like him very much. I've had many conversations with him, more than I thought I would at this point. I guess I just would like to hear from him, his thoughts specific to, um, you know, to us. And I guess I'm the old lady of the group because I have a senior, so this isn't my first rodeo. So I guess I'm just sort of feeling like I'd like to know what are his thoughts,
Right.
you know? And then, you know, sort of go through, you know, what his thoughts are, and then, you know, check in with Almina and just be like, okay, you know, this is great, or, you know, and could we add this, that, or the other? So, you know, how's he going to change the culture when it comes to our culture of disability? How is he planning on including us in our diversity and equity and conversations of cultural diversity? And does he even have a plan for that?
I agree that his plans, as far as that stuff goes, would be helpful to know before asking specific questions. Some things that I'm also concerned about and interested in would be like how much para educator support is I don't know if that's like included in the special ed budget or if that's like separate, but I think that it's important to have extra adults, at least I mean, probably across the ages, but definitely in elementary school, especially when there are multiple kids with special needs in a classroom. And then additionally, what was I going to say? Oh, I would like to see some of the budget, if possible, going to training for faculty and staff and everyone, especially surrounding autism, and like maybe some like less ABA type supporting. Like I want like more education for people around inclusivity and like the neurodivergence paradigm rather than ABA and like snapping kids into fitting into the like mainstream class. Like I want my kid blended into the room, but I also would like some training for inclusion in that way.
That's good for me to know, honestly, Amanda.
And Laura also would like to add to that question about what can be done so we can retain paras. Because my experience in the past 10 years, I'm going to speak of the early ed. Within 7 years of being in the early ed, I was fourth in the line of seniority when it comes to paraeducators. So we spend all this time and resources training paras in the beginning of the school year, and then they're gone next year. What do we need to do to retain paras?
Right. That's good.
I do know that in talks with people that retention is an area that they are looking at.
Mhm.
And that is something that is, of course, on the minds of the Para Advisory Committee and on the minds of the negotiation team. So it is definitely a topic at hand because retention is super important to maintain, you know, the level of consistency for our students.
Yeah, it's also, honestly, if you want to be a little mercenary about it, it's cheaper for the district to keep people, to train them and to make them happy, than it is to keep constantly rolling them over. You know, it's just exhausting. Honestly, I've gotten to the point where I hate doing interviews. You know, it just takes a lot of time, even though there's a lot of great people out there, but it would be better to keep the people we know that are doing a great job now and to support them more. And yeah, Kelly's absolutely right, but it's worth mentioning again too. So, and I gotta say that these topics are good for me to hear from you guys as well, because even though this is information for Elmina to share in her role, which I thought was budget, but I might be wrong about that. But it's good for me to hear it too. I mean, did they say what the committee? I don't remember what the committee was exactly.
It's just parent advisory committee.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. Then they might go over a lot of topics. Right?
Another, and can I say something else too?
Of course.
So, I mean, the paras are the backbone. We say that over and over within the school district. And if there's, you know, if we're going to be looking at, you know, tightening the belt loop, so to speak, when it comes to our finances moving forward, that, you know, it shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be expected to be easy. And it should not necessarily be the priority to consider cutting paras, particularly paras that have, you know, have that training, have that knowledge, have that, you know, I'm not just talking about seniority. I'm talking about paras who, you know, do have that background and do have that longevity. I think that it's important that we, you know, not just go right to that, us being the ones that get cut.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anybody say anything about cutting any staff anywhere. But you know, but what I'm concerned about is we're always increasing, and then kids with greater needs, and I don't know exactly why that is, but it's true, and it may be true other places. And well, anyway, we don't need to go down that road too much. But I would just say that I would advocate that special ed not be on the chopping block at all. And I don't know that anything's going to be cut, to be truthful. So far, I've been told that we just can expect things to be the same. But I mean, I also know that we've got a really big price tag on Macy's now, and we have to rebuild BHS, and all those things are part of it. So just want to be mindful of that.
Almina, another question that I would have then would be, and Mike Fish and I sort of, he's Mike Fisher.
Yeah, for sure.
It's okay, it's big. So it's clear to me that the school board, in my opinion, it feels as though our students with disabilities are the afterthought. It feels that way all across the board. And I want to know how they're prioritizing our children getting into the new space. And when we're talking about accessibility, we're not just talking about the physical space of the building. We are talking about universally. You know, I would say that my area of expertise is primarily with the physical spaces. Kelly has a whole other area of expertise, you know, when it comes to other areas of accessibility. I want to know how they're going to prioritize our kids.
And I wrote Macy's and the new BHS, is that correct?
Well, I thought we had a plan for BHS, but now I'm a little concerned that that's going to change again. And Laura, just FYI, if you hear any rumblings about anything changing for the BHS plan, would you please loop me in somehow?
Yep. Oh, look at this. Tom's joining us. Hey, Tom, welcome. Oh, he's still connecting. Welcome, Tom. Oh, you're muted, I think.
I can't see him.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Where are you?
I'm here. You can't see me.
There you are. Are your ears ringing?
No, should they be?
No.
I was just talking about you.
Oh my gosh. It's good to see so many friendly faces.
Mhm.
Almina, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Tom. How are you?
Good, good, good. I'm starting to go into rooms and I know people. It's so exciting. I know everyone. Good to see you all.
So we were just talking. We had something else on our agenda, but we decided to push that back for next month. And we're talking about Almena shared with us that she's on the parent advisory. So we were talking about things we might want her to be aware of as a parent on the advisory committee.
That's great. Yeah, that's why I specifically said hi, because we were meeting
Mhm.
recently. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I wanted to jump on because I know I was on in the very first one and haven't been back on since. So I just wanted to check in and say hi, see how you all are doing, and just be a part of the conversation.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about how we knew that you were very supportive of families with kids with disabilities. We were concerned about changes, and you know, as we've talked about recently too, that there's a concern that kids with disabilities might not be the first thought when we shift into new locations. So that was what we were just talking about when you came in.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, keep going out, or unless you have questions directly for me,
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today, just about how hard it is for our community and how hard it has been, and specific, I think mostly for our students with IEPs and
Mhm.
students with 504 plans and our students who are learning English. I'm
It's so
wanting,
hard.
yeah,
I mean, it's hard because it's been so long.
yeah,
I mean, I have a senior now. Hannah's a senior. Well, both of my girls are home. Hadley did go today to Edmonds, and it's, I mean, we're good, but it is taking its toll. It's like there hasn't been any opportunity for Hannah to be able to have any connection. I mean, aside from remotely,
yeah,
and I was mentioning that on one of the posts from one of the school board members talking about, how exciting it is that we have Macy's, and it is exciting. Um, but always in conversations that we're having in our school district, never are we included in the conversations when it comes to accessibility, inclusion, and belonging. And so I became concerned once again. And so I was mentioning that I would really like to know how our children are being prioritized in this move to Macy's, because, I said this before you even came on board, when we were trying to figure out how is it going to look. I sat on committees over the summer about how is it going to look for students with disabilities re-entering school, and that information got lost in all the shuffle. How are we, how can we prioritize moving into a new building if we're not prioritizing our most vulnerable students and talking about them first? And then we go from there. If it works for our kids, it's going to work for everyone.
And
Yeah.
that right there, Shelley, is what I think people don't understand, is going for the low hanging fruit doesn't benefit anybody. It's easy to set something up for that middle ground,
Mhm.
but we have to think of the outliers before we think of the middle, because the middle will just fall into place. It's the outliers that need the forethought, not the afterthought.
No, and you just said it, outliers. Why are we outliers? We should be in the center, and everybody kind of like, the support starts here, and it builds and it builds and it builds with the student body, and all teachers, all staff, all planning. How do we support our students that are vulnerable right now? And part of it is because we create that vulnerability by not talking about the diversity of disability as part of our culture, and ableism, like Kelly, you and I have been working on for so long. And so, Tom, sorry, I I haven't sent emails to you, and I haven't just tried to be in contact because I know how super duper busy you are and everything is coming at you from all angles. And, you know, I haven't really quite had the headspace. So I'm taking advantage of just sort of sharing with you, you know, the things that keep me up at night are the fact that I have one daughter that has a place that where she belongs, and I have another daughter that does not, and she's a senior.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing. I'm just listening.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, I'm hearing the kind of stress and also the strong push to make sure that we're including students with disabilities, students with IEPs in the beginning of our planning. And I agree with that completely. I know that hasn't happened in this case with the move to Macy's. And I also think that we haven't done a whole lot of planning for individual. We haven't done a whole lot of planning on it yet because it's still not totally done.
Mhm.
So I also think there's an opportunity to make sure that happens. Because we're still, I still see us in the beginning of the planning for the move to Macy's.
Well,
I just wonder if there was forethought in even the original planning, like, oh, there's a building. We need more than just a building. We need to think about the lighting, the space, the physical space, the lighting, the auditories, you know, or is it going to be able to have red cat systems installed for kids with hearing impairments, just so classes can hear, you know. I just wonder if all of that was thought about, or if it was just, we need a space. And I get it. We need a space, but we need to pick a
we need
space.
Braille. You know, we need Braille.
Yeah.
And we need people's attitudes to change.
Well, yeah, that's the attitudes changing, and the belief is what is an adaptive change. I think in terms of how we landed on the Macy's building was it was the only building that we looked at hundreds of spaces, and it was literally the only building. The only second option was trailers, and that's not really a genuine option because we couldn't build the trailers in the winter. So I will say that the nuance of the thinking about the space in the way that you're talking about it has not been there, but it was an original plus for the space, that it was accessible, and that's that. So I think people are thinking about sort of base accessibility, and we were happy that it had that, and that helped us decide that was one of the only, that was really, you know, it narrowed it down. So, okay, this is one of the only spaces. And then we started to realize it's actually the only space, right? Because the colleges started to pull away, and it just wasn't, there aren't other spaces that are big enough to house the building, the whole school.
Tom, have you heard, so within the disabled community, there's a phrase that is so appropriate for a lot of what we're talking about right now, and it's nothing about us without us.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, Laura's only one person.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Kelly, can I share with you that Tracy has been a strong advocate too. I don't know if that helps to hear that.
who?
Tracy?
Tracy.
Woman.
Oh yeah, no, this is not,
I just want you to know.
this is a systems, a global, like, this is also in our community. This is not sole, this is not the only, this is not unique to Burlington School District, is what I want to say. And so where is our representation? You know, who is advocating for us. I only say Kelly and I because Kelly and I have been tirelessly, I mean, spread thin, trying to sit in every committee possible. I mean, I can tell you how many committees for a brand new high school I sat on from the time Hannah was 2, and that's been over 16 years and we still don't have it. So it's not for lack of trying, it's for lack of not being, nobody hears us, no one's listening. What does it have
I
to
think
take? You're my third superintendent.
Well, but I want you to know, Shelley, I'm listening. I mean, you have an advocate in me. I ran the special education department in Washington, D.C. public schools in 110 schools. Like
Oh
this.
yeah, I know your background and I feel very, very hopeful.
Yeah.
Our time is running out.
No, I
There's
hear
a
you.
sense of urgency on our part. I would really love for Hannah to have a little bit of belonging, a little bit of something before, she graduates in June. That's not very far from now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd only want you to know that I'm at the table with this lens of, with the lens. I am, that's where my head is in all the decisions I'm making. But that doesn't mean that you, are fully represented either. I don't want to suggest that because I think there's work there too.
And
I will say
Tom?
Laura is a strong advocate in cabinet. So we have one core decision-making body in the district at the district office, and and Laura is a part of that group. So you do have representation at the highest level of the organization. So that doesn't help right now for you, but I do want you to know that it's a priority for me.
And Tom, I do believe you. This is Kelly speaking, if you can't
Yeah, I
see.
know. Yeah.
I appreciate seeing you talk the walk. And I saw that in effect yesterday during your student advisory committee. And you were ever so patient with my son. And you really seemed to sense his urgency of needing to speak that very moment. And you just let him do it. And I watched the stress just drop off of him, and he was able to attend for longer than he was anticipating because he felt heard. And that's all anybody wants, is just to feel heard and to be seen, and you allowed that to happen. And so I appreciate seeing your talk match your walk. It's not something we are used to.
He
yet.
was awesome too. My God, this is amazing. Yeah. And what was so cool, Kelly, is your neighbor, right, Peter? That connection. There was a Peter's like probably, I haven't seen him in person. He's probably 6'4". I don't know.
He has definitely gotten a lot taller.
And
oh my gosh,
together they were great, and they were so good.
You know what, Tom, you should join one of our classes online with Josepha's science class. It is so we look forward to it every day. It is such an amazing group of students and paras, and
I went in.
It is, you would absolutely love. I think it would be amazing if you could join us someday.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
Yeah, Josepha is a nationally recognized science teacher, and she is a special educator, and she teaches a science class that you would never know was for kids with disabilities. It's amazing.
We have so much fun.
Yeah. When is it?
So we meet at. See, I'm confused because of the Wednesday schedule. We meet at 10 o'clock on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from like 10 to 10:50. It's such a great class, and we have so much fun, and it's so interesting, and yeah. And believe me, Tom, when I say like I'm just really happy that you're here right now, and I Scott and I both, we are always available to problem solve. We're not, you know, we're not complainers. I'm tired,
No,
but
I know, Shelley. I mean, I see you
I'm
making
super
stuff
tired,
happen.
but so I just want you to know that, like, I know I probably come on strong the last few times that we've had a conversation, but it's only because I feel such a sense of urgency right now. But, you know, part of Hannah's legacy will hopefully be that, you know, other students will be able to benefit from some of the things that, you know, she's been able to experience, and that we are able to convey to everybody to, you know, to always, you know, make things better than the way we found them. So yeah, I feel great that you're here.
Yeah, but I want you to tell me, I want you to tell me the truth, you know, I want you all to tell
Oh, I
me.
have no problem telling the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Don't feel like I want you to shy away from that.
But I'll only tell you the truth when I have an idea that I think is going to help be be a solution. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yes, everybody likes that.
I want to come check out the class. I think I can do it soon, but I think I can only do the first half hour.
Mhm.
Is that doable?
Oh yeah, we do a check-in and then we roll right into our work. And you know, I'm amazed at how much we get accomplished in 45 minutes, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm trying,
I'll just have to make sure that Hannah doesn't use her communicator to call you a jerk or tell you to shut the hell up, because those are
Oh, I
all
don't care.
programmed into her talker.
I don't care.
You
My-
might.
One of my favorite places is On Top Academy right now over at the what's that place called? At
It's
Rock
like
Point.
St. Mark's, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You get some honesty.
I hear some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll get some honesty here too.
Yeah, I want to do that.
so Tom, Josepha's excited about having you come too. She said she'd send me the details.
I can be there on the 22nd. Yeah, 22nd.
Oh, that would be so amazing.
That's the last day of school too. Before
Oh,
the
that's,
right?
I can't, you know, I can't wait. I'm sorry, but
Ready for a break?
So Josepha,
not that it's going to be a break, but
No,
Just
I know.
wait.
Change of pace.
Josepha says authentic work is done every day. You're welcome anytime. 10 to 10:50 except Wednesdays. Wednesdays is 10:25.
All right, I can do the 22nd. Could you send me the link and stuff, Laura?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay.
and I am both para and parent in that class, and
Oh my God.
I love it.
I love that. It's a family affair. There one year I was teaching I have 5 half brothers and sisters. They're brothers and sisters, but they're from, you know, different moms or dads. And I had my dad, it was my assistant coach for soccer, and I was teaching one brother and one brother and 2 sisters. They were all in my classes. It was like the best year of my life. It brings its own challenges, of course, but
I
Did
know,
you say 5 siblings, 5 half brothers and sisters?
5 have, yeah, my
That's
parents
funny.
got,
I have 5 half brothers and sisters, but
Do
I
you
was
really?
raised as an only child.
I was too. I was an only child until I was like 13, and then boom, babies everywhere.
Yeah, I met my little brother when I was 12, and I met my 4 older siblings in my 20s. It's like, yeah, really bizarre.
Wow.
Good
Yeah.
shared experience.
Hannah just got home. That's so great. Have
Yeah.
you met Hannah yet? You probably haven't,
Oh.
because we've been in lockdown.
Yeah. There she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there she goes. She's got some business.
Awesome. Taking care of business.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it's great to see you all. I'm going to head off to a committee meeting. We have the personnel and what's it called? Personnel and curriculum meeting at in a half hour. And I'm going to run home so I can see the kids for a few today.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I
Thank
talked to
Thank
your
you, Tom.
No, thank you. It's great to see you all. I'll be back through. All right, bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
So we don't have much time. Actually, we're over time, and I want to make sure I honor this. So I'm going to just ask you really quickly is pluses and deltas, pluses and negatives. So can I put in that Tom coming was a plus?
Definitely.
Anything that we should have done differently?
You should have been able to control my mute.
I was actually going to tell Tom, Shelley, that you and I have finally learned how not to talk over each other during meetings. So at least he only has to listen to one of us at a time.
Yeah, but we always have, you and I are like kindred spirits. Like we always have, we're, yeah.
So
And I
that,
learned from
that
you.
just means Amanda and Almina need to talk up if they want to be heard. That's okay. They can do it. No worries.
I have no
Shelley
doubt.
knows.
What's the,
Once I start talking, it's really hard to stop. So I'm really loving this mute button and be able to control it.
Now let me know if anybody has any questions for Tom. I can forward them too. So I'm going to jump us all out and have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys all in January. Please continue to invite people. I don't mind if it's always just us, but I'd love to join others to join too. Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time, everybody. So
Bye,
valuable.
everybody.
Take care.